Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Cherie and RozyGlow. We're both like, no makeup, pyjamas. I'm not 20 anymore. Light, give me light. Hey, Genevieve, welcome. So, yeah, really aiming to get these daily prayers in between 9 and 10 a.m. And if you are a regular watcher, then Twitcher. Sounds so wrong. We're a bit giddy. The prayer got born this morning, so I'm going to share it with you. And obviously the last couple of days we've been all about stardust and fairy dust and being from other planets, and I just wanted to download a bit more of the human bit and how that actually works. So I'm going to go straight into it, and then as Cherie is here working with me today, I wanted to talk a little bit about grace from a sort of a Christian perspective, and also my perspective more as a, what would you call me, esoteric perspective? Don't know, it will come anyway, just bear with us.
Spiritual guidance.
Spiritual guidance. We're not going to say woo-woo. Good morning, diamonds. This grace that adorns my face, I call it to the darkness that keeps me up in the early hours. Those things that seem beyond me require grace to be freed, as does my need to have something to worry about or doubt. I am divine bliss that rains down upon this abyss of what is beyond my control. So I choose to nurture my soul so that the highest can come, my soul and my physicality, so that the highest can come to be. It really is that simple, even if it isn't easy. Put it all in a sphere of love, call in your guidance, and pull in all that is needed from source above. And know that it is done. I am held by the divine. I am seeing through eyes of love. So both Cherie and I were awake in the middle of the night last night. To be fair, it might have had something to do with the bottle of Prosecco we shared. And this is the thing, is like we've been talking a lot about the liver and live, live, like the liver is so important. And alcohol is, as is sugar consumption, is such a normal part of our Western culture, and yet it really does batter the liver, and we're really noticing that, aren't we? As much as I do love a glass of wine and do love a glass of Prosecco, but my eyes don't, my liver doesn't really. So instead of saying to myself, my liver hates me, I've started to say my liver loves me, but we're definitely going for an alcohol detox, because if you do wake up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and you have been drinking the night before, just be aware that your liver is processing. And what it does, and I wish I had the book with me now, but different memories will sort of come up, different things that are sort of pain points that we kind of don't really know what to do with, so we kind of push them away. And then depending on which part of the liver is processing, it will kind of push out something around that. So for me, I was thinking about my daughter and my cat. Cherie, you were thinking about your son.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of like those things we worry about. I mean, if you've been following what's been going on for me, my cat's got this growth and don't think she's going to be around in her physical body for much longer. What the vets have suggested is just ridiculous because there's not enough skin to do it. So I'm just coming to terms with that. And it's really painful, actually, if I'm honest. Like, I love this cat so much. If you did any of my work previously, you'll know, if you came to my yoga classes when I ran them at home, she was always part of the class, and she'd come and sit on the pregnant ladies and, give them healing, didn't she? And yeah, letting this go is really hard for me. And, you know, my daughter's 18 now, she's kind of getting older and spreading her wings, and there's that letting go. I mean, for you, it's...
So, yeah, I'm adjusting to a new way of family life, and my children are with their dad this week, having so much fun for the first week of the Easter holidays, but it's the longest time that we've been doing this setup. So, yeah, just thinking, you know, and that's the time of night where he sneaks into bed with mummy, and, you know, we have cuddles, and, you know, just thinking about him being really little, and, yeah, that different life and what that feels like for me, and, just the imaginings and worries about what that might mean, and kind of getting racked in my head, and, and actually then stepping away from that and thinking, okay, well, what actually is going on here, and what's it like for this to all be okay?
Absolutely. And I think this is the thing about connecting to loss. Like that's what it kind of feels like. It's connecting to loss. And I was thinking about when you finish breastfeeding and the pain, you know, like the pain we go through when we stop breastfeeding, it's so painful, and it brings up like that real sense of loss. That's the only way I can describe it. It feels like a grief, you know, and I don't think it does play a part in how long you've actually breastfed for, but this idea, like we grow something inside of us, whether it's an idea, whether it's a baby, whether it's, you know, something that we want to sort of gestate and give birth to, and then there's this letting go. There's a nurturing point, then a letting go, and life is this constant cycle. Like you might have seen the post about the snake, the serpent eating its tail, and you know, there's so much symbolism in our lives, and we live magically, don't we? So we kind of see it everywhere, and it's a beautiful way to live, but you don't escape human emotion. This is what we're saying. So, you know, yes, some of the prayers are very, you know, rah, out there, but some of them are really about that real feeling of what do you do in the middle of the night. So if you actually hear it again, I know when I wake up in the middle of the night and I've got stuff going on, whatever the reason, I will just start saying my I am statements. I say them in my head. I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am. I'll use the triple flame activation. I'll create a sphere and put everything in there and breathe it in, and then just allow whichever flame wants to come through to come through. But as you can see, the soft pink flame of divine grace and the magenta flame of delight, and you know, the pinks are coming through now in a big way. As we claim RozyGlow, as we claim the fact that we are channeling a frequency here, and it is an opportunity to just keep opening to the fact that grace and bliss, you know, these frequencies are very healing if we welcome them. So I'm going to share it one more time, then move on to this piece about grace and the different perspectives on it. So, good morning, diamonds. This grace that adorns my face, I call it to the darkness that keeps me up in the early hours. Those things that seem beyond me require grace to be freed, as does my need to have something to worry about or doubt. Think about that, you know, like we're so used to obsessing about stuff. We have to have something to worry about. We have to have something to expect to go wrong. Like we feed that negativity all the time. When you start to feed the positivity, it feels really alien, and your pattern will want to keep pulling you back to, oh, but have you thought about this? Oh, but have you thought about, and it's like, just put it all in a sphere, love it up. Keep handing it over. Micromanaging does not lead to success, okay? It leads to obsess. You don't want to be obsessive. So, I am divine bliss that rains down upon this abyss of what is beyond my control. So I choose to nurture my soul and physicality so that the highest can come to be. It really is that simple, even if it isn't easy. Put it all in a sphere of love. Call in your guidance and pull in all that is needed from source above. And know that it is done. I am held by the divine. I am seeing through eyes of love. I am that I am. Yeah, baby. Okay, so grace. Talk about grace. How do you, as a, what type of Christian would you call yourself now? Because obviously you're not really a sort of traditional Christian.
So I would say that I am very traditional in my understanding of the Trinity, which is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But I would label myself as liberal and evangelical. And also magical. So thinking much more about the miracles of the world in the world, and how how we experience heaven on earth, and what that actually means, and how we live life according to actually what the divine plan is and was, which doesn't mean that we're actually in paradise now, but it does mean that we have the opportunity to access paradise
and co-create it here on earth. And this is the funny thing, is people tend to, there's a lot of Christians that get attracted to this RozyGlow work. You know, generally speaking, I have another Christian client who basically said, you know, you don't get more woo-woo than Jesus, really, like in terms of like turning water to wine and like, you know, parting the seas, healing people. And if you kind of look at the history before the establishment took over Christianity, because that is what happened, you kind of have this man that was ridiculed until he was persecuted. Well, he was persecuted until he was killed, and then he became a saint, you know, then he became a saviour. Until then, people really kind of, he was the madman with these crazy ideas that God was talking directly to him. What, you know, these are my takes on it all.
Yeah, definitely.
you know, ultimately, when we talk about the second coming, we talk about the Christ within, we talk about Christ consciousness. For me, that is the consciousness of compassion. For me, that is about moving from an eye for an eye to forgive them. They know not what they do, just because they haven't got the consciousness about them yet. That doesn't mean that we just lay over and die, actually. And one of the things that we do bring up a lot in our work is the sphere of compassion and the sword of compassion, and the fact that we're not talking about righteous wars here. Like, we're not talking about going to war in the name of God. We're talking about defense here. We're talking about, nah, you're not going to annihilate me with your darkness. You're not going to annihilate me with the fact that you haven't wanted to connect to the light. That's fine. That's okay. But you stay over there. Do your thing.
And it's about doing that with love.
Yeah.
And that's where the love and grace comes in. It's about how you respond, and that doesn't mean rolling over. It means that you're loving, and love is sometimes when Jesus walked into the temple and turned the tables and said, "This is unacceptable," and that's what you do when you're faced with the darkness. Is you say, "This is unacceptable," and you do it in a loving way, but you turn the tables, and it's that righteousness according to you and what you believe to be and know should be true for you.
Absolutely. So in that, because this is where sort of I wanted to just say a little bit, and I'll probably do another video about this, but about free will and divine will, because this is a conversation that keeps coming up, and it's almost a different video, but we can kind of touch upon it here. But yeah, essentially, it's okay to get angry. It's okay to have boundaries. It's important to have boundaries, and it's okay to feel cross when people transgress them. And actually, it's okay to be in your truth and to show your emotion. We had a situation like that yesterday, didn't we? It's like just owning how we feel and it being witnessed, because so often we push down how we feel. And this is a huge thing with my clients, that they just have no idea how they really feel because they've been taught how to feel is acceptable. I see it in my family members, and that everybody's just caught up, just bound, has no idea how to deal with that black box of stuff that's like, oh, I don't know. And it's like, just bring light and love to it, bring it out. So in terms of free will and divine will, one of the things we're talking about through the RozyGlow concept is being co-creators of our reality, and that we're all living virtual realities based on our perception of what is real and what isn't real. So actually, like, even if we're all in the same room, we will have a different experience of it depending on our perception filters, right, of what's actually going on. We will hear different things, we will see different things, we will focus on different things. That is true, and yoga teaches that as well, you know, like mindfulness teaches that, it's there. In terms of when people start to claim they're co-creators of their reality, like, this is big, and in many ways I start to think, oh, it's blasphemous, you know. I'm a co-creator of my reality, I am the source of my creations, I'm a multi-dimensional being of double light.
How's that blasphemous?
Well, it's kind of like saying, if you think about the argument of we are made in the image of the divine, we are made in God's image, or we are divine sparks. From my point of view, it's like we are God, you know, in the sense that we have that divine spark within us we can activate. We're not made in his image and lacking something. We are lacking something if we don't, oh, her image, its image, the image, whatever. God, yes. Until you activate that spark, you're not connected to that consciousness. You have to seek it. You have to want it. And when you do, you can start to consciously co-create. So often people are kind of caught up with, well, I want this. And like, you know, the giving over of the free will to the divine will is a big thing that locks us up, because we're scared we're giving power away to something outside of us. And actually, you're not. You're giving your power to the wisest, most evolved aspect of your being. It can help you co-create the best possible outcomes here in this physical reality that, from your human perception, at this present time, you won't be able to pick up on, because that human condition is limited and flawed. And that's kind of where I find that sort of sinning concept and all some of the concepts that kind of come in. Go on.
Well, I think that's where grace comes in, and it's, you know, and it's very much your take on what is a sin, which is owning kind of your soul journey, really, as to what is out of alignment for you. So for me, a sin would be when I'm out of alignment, and that can mean a variety of things, physical, emotional, mental, the way I speak to people, the way I speak to myself, my actions being out of alignment. There are a set of really important rules, which are the 10 Commandments, but generally I think we'd all agree with them anyway. You know, let's kind of not try and murder someone today. However, you know, we do have that murderous rage, and when I have my murderous rage, it's owning that and acknowledging that and processing that, because it's there for a reason. But I wouldn't call it a sin. because I'm processing it, and I'm being graceful with myself, and I'm being loving towards myself and those feelings and that experience. And I think that's where it gets wonky. And actually, when you're truly aligned with that, of like, okay, yeah, there's something going on there, and I'm going to be loving and graceful towards myself, just as I believe God would be towards us. You know, God is of love. That then leads us back to alignment of, okay, well, what is this toxicity, and where am I out of alignment, or what is out of alignment, and I'm choosing that path, and then we kind of direct ourselves
back into center, alignment.
Yeah.
And that I think this is, so one of the things I talk about is I surrender my personal will to my divine will. I'm going to make a different video about this. This is going to go on too long anyway. But that one is really about understanding what actually happens. Hey, Lucy, welcome. Yeah, that one is about what really, really happens when you kind of go, all right, I am open now to letting go of fear running my life. I am open now to allowing love to be the focus, the win-win-win, the highest good of all. When you start to really focus on that, then you can trust desire. You know, you can trust your desires, and then you have to temper them with surrender. I think what you just said is so interesting, because like my first boyfriend was a born-again Christian, or he came from a born-again Christian background and kind of left it. He came from a Christian background, got into a born-again background, and then left that particular church at the time. But I remember having an argument with him about what sinning meant, and I just couldn't conceive of this concept. But he said, look, it just means aiming at something and missing the mark. Like it's like darts on a bullseye, and you're aiming for something and you have an intention, and then you don't quite get there. And that's where this idea of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. My dad came out with like 5 different cliches. I was like, now you know what you're co-creating. Like, what is all of this? Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So watch the cliches you talk about as well, because all of this is just shaping your reality. I'm reminded of this amazing book called The Second Coming. I can't remember that. Who's the author? Can you remember?
No, I can't remember.
Claire Bush shared it with me. But anyway, apparently there was only one commandment, but Moses had a bit of an ego about him, and he just had to write 10. And the commandment was, be nice. Could we all just be nice? Love. Simple, isn't it? So how we got onto that from the prayer today, I wanted to whet your appetite for some more conversations between Cherie and me, because as you can tell, this woman's like, she's got some insight, and you've been working with me for a really, really long time. She is my left and my right. She's heavily involved in RozyGlow and Enjoy Yoga, and is amazing. So we'll be doing more. And any questions you have, anything you kind of want to know more about, can you just let us know, because we're really happy to get on and have chats about these things. It's about filling in the gaps and about helping to build a picture that feels safer to expand and to explore for each of you, so that you can feel safe about co-creating your reality and unplug from that 3D matrix of fear and control, which makes us sick. It just makes us sick. You don't need it, okay?
And that's where we get excited as well, is, you as the tribe and us being the tribe too. What do we co-create, and what conversations are of today, and how today's daily prayer led to this conversation, and actually what will it then lead to in your lives, and what will you come back with the questions, and that that beautiful dance of the co-creation of, oh wow, look what we manifested today, yeah baby.
And that is how we live.
That's how we live, and that's that's the magic.
All of our team is virtual. Very rarely are we together. And actually, one of the teams just joined. Eva lives in Spain, so we're just. But one of the things she said, apparently, hello, Paolo, good to see you, mate. Lovely to see you. Was that she just loved the way that we all work together. We're all like flowing these concepts through our business. This is like the transparency. This is what we do. We use all of the tools that I use in my coaching, that I use online, as part of our business, both through Enjoy and RozyGlow. And it is a new model. Every day, check in, hold yourself accountable, be transparent, be in love, look for the good, all of that jazz. So there'll be more coming.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to know more about how the way that we work as a business and what that means, and how we use RozyGlow as business tools, that's certainly something that I'd like to share more about, because that journey has been pretty awesome.
It has, and there's been some blips along the way. So
Definitely.
like seeing how things don't work. The main thing is people need to own their own stuff, and if they don't, it gets projected and causes a lot of problems. And we have a lot of fail safes in place, because when you're kind of walking uncharted territory, holding yourself in check is one thing, but you kind of need some other fail safes as well, just to make sure you haven't gone completely off on a tangent, because it is, you know, you can get lost sometimes.
Which for me is very much like prayer as well. So that's, you know, I think we could talk all morning, but, you know, that sense of kind of, we get a reminder in the Bible of, well, what are you praying for and what is in your thoughts, and be vigilant of that. And it's that, for me, that's what happens when you co-create as well. And you know, at times we see miscreations, you know, and actually what's going on there, and is it a roadblock, or actually what was your intention? Where did you, what's going on there?
She's talking about co-creation success. Okay, that's important. If you want to know more about co-creation success, that helps you to decipher why you want what you want. Where is it coming from? Which this, again, like anything I've created comes as a download. I then share my excitement with Cherie, and then she goes, ah, which is basically like, the Bible says, and it's like, okay, so we know we're divinely guided, because it just comes. And I have someone of a real pure soul next to me that goes, this ties in with this and this and this. I don't know any of that stuff. I haven't studied the Bible, like, you know, like very limited perception. So yeah, again, the fail safes really help us. And we've learned a lot from actually when things haven't worked out with people, which, you know, is always very sad, but it kind of, again, it's about accountability and transparency. Very, very important. I am uploading a video at the moment on the YouTube channel, which is about divine architecture, and I suggest you watch it. I'm not very happy with the background, I have to say. I will re-record it, but I'm in a makeshift studio at the moment as a new studio is being built. And it is, it really explains the core lines that I believe are what keeps us safe and grounded and sane as we expand into our higher consciousness, which, if you are on a path and you want to keep growing and bringing more of your soul love light into your being, you have to be grounded and anchored. Otherwise, it will send you kooky, all right? It will send you off. And I don't know how many people live in Brighton, a lot of ungroundedness. Ground it, ground it, ground it, like bring it in. And it explains a lot more about that other video. For now, I think we'll probably leave that there and get on with some other work.
Yeah.
This is our work. How cool is that? I love my life. It's great being me. Just when I think it can't get any better.
It gets better and better and better.
Eyes of love, babies. See you later. Bye.